Yo, good day, good day, good day, everybody. Welcome back to your show, Easy Does It, with your host, Mike Roro. How are you doing? How are you doing? And you already know, another day, another blessing, baby. Another day, another blessing. So, listen, we're so excited about the show today. We're excited about the show, period. We're excited to have you here hanging with us today and just enjoying the ride, enjoying the journey, enjoying the camaraderie, enjoying the fellowship, enjoying the conversation. Um, I'm enjoying life right now, man. Things have been very, very good in my life, thank God. You guys can just imagine. I mean, I've been very transparent with my journey, and hey, I'm doing well, doing really well, thank God. Now we got a great topic today. We have a great topic. Most of these topics, pretty much all of them so far, have been based off of my own experiences as in my life, what I'm learning, how powerful trauma is, and just exactly what addiction is. Addiction is just a way to that. What we do is it's a way to try to handle traumas that happen in our life, and so we're gonna just discuss that today. We're gonna discuss parents, children, and the symptoms of trauma. And like always, I do want to just give a quick shout out to two places that really played a big role, a big part in my recovery. First place, shout out to Boca Recovery out in Jersey. It's a medical detox center, amazing facility, top of the line. Everything is great from the moment you walk in to the moment you step out. You're left with a lasting impression, an impression of hope, an impression of service, because what each and every one of those staff members have done, it's really a blessing, man, and it's very encouraging. Shout out to the second place, which is All In Solution, baby. All In Solution. I went to the one out in Cherry Hill. Amazing facility. Again, they the staff was just above and beyond, and each group was amazing. Is amazing. I do miss the the wonderful conversation, the wonderful intellect. Just they were awesome, man. And I'm so grateful that I overcame the fear. I overcame all of the excuses, my desire for uh, sobriety, my desire and my need for the tools were higher than my desire to continue in addiction. So shout out to All In. Check those places out. Life changing, man. Life changing. So shout out to them. All right. So let's touch this topic that again I pretty much I often talk to myself. I reflect on my life, and I ultimately come up with these thoughts based or these topics based off of the stuff that I've gone through. And now, being a parent, I look at things from a different perspective, and And obviously, I see certain things that, it's just totally different. And so we're going to talk about parents, children, and the symptoms of trauma. And all of this is based off of addiction, drugs, alcohol, any type of addiction. That's all in the pot right now. We're talking about all of it. So let's start off with parents. Let's start off with parents. All right. Parents struggling with addiction. And that could be anything: drugs, alcohol. It can be pornography, working out. It can be anything. All of that stuff is in the box. But parents struggling with addiction, man, can have a profound impact on their children. In so many various ways. It's amazing. Those effects, they can be emotional, physical, psychological, excuse me, practical. And I just want to talk about that. I don't know how often, or I don't know if this is like a conversation that's held in the cities. And we need to hear it. Somebody needs to bring it out there, man. So parents, listen. If you are struggling, okay, but I want you to understand, I want you to hear this out. Your addiction is really impacting your child. And you got to get to the root cause. I want you to look at your child, because I know how it feels. I know how it feels to look at your child, know that you're hurting your child, know that you're letting them down. I know that feeling. And I also know that feeling to choose the addiction over that love of your child. Doesn't feel good. And the addiction itself, the after effect is that we live a life of regret after. We overwhelm ourselves and we never really address the issue at hand. This is what it is. This is the cycle. But I want us to know, parents, our struggle with addiction, it's causing an impact on our children emotionally, psychologically. Those are huge, all right? Let's talk about the emotional turmoil. Excuse me, the emotional turmoil. Now, all of the things that I am talking about, most of it all, is just from me just reading, studying, looking into things. And this is all just Mike Roro just conversating. So let's talk about the children of parents, right? The children of parents with addiction. Let's talk about some of the emotions that they are feeling. Now, of course, these kids, depending on their age, depending on different scenarios, but they're definitely feeling confused. There's a ton of confusion that's running through their mind. Why is my mom? Why is my dad never home? Why are they stealing the television? Why are they taking the food from the refrigerator? Why don't I see them for 2-3 days in a row? Why is he or she, mom, dad, leaning, looking like a zombie? Why? Why doesn't they? Why does my dad? Why does my mom not want to be around me? Why do they not love me? All of these thoughts of confusion, fears, getting a little older. Man, how are we going to eat tonight? Are we going to go hungry? Are we going to starve? Am I going to have clothes to go to school? Am I going to this, that? Am I going to see my father again? Or am I going to see my mother again? Fear. All of those feelings. And then, and then, and then what? Anger. Anger kicks in. Excuse me. Anger. You hate, excuse me. Why is my it's not charging? Technical difficulty. There we go. Then anger. Anger kicks in. I hate my mother. I hate my father. I hate them. I hate them. Hate, hate, hate. All of these feelings, all of them are just running rampant in your child's mind, child's heart. It's just crazy. There's a huge feeling of neglect, unloved. I remember I desired the love of a father. Like, yo, where's my father? Why doesn't my father love me? Their attention, just my parents, my father, his attention was gone. I needed it, but it was all focused on addiction. Just another thing is the instability that was taking place in the home. I mean, I had an unstable home environment. It was erratic. There was so much. Just my father was there, gone for many days, came, and when he came, there was never no peace. Arguing with my mother, where's the money? Where's this? Stealing this. All of that led to like a financial instability. My mom being on welfare, and the few dollars she had to hide it. It's a lot of stuff. Some of these kids are, frequent changes in their living situation. It's just crazy the instability that takes place having a parent who's in some type of addiction. Addiction leads to neglect or some form of abuse. Parents may be unable to meet the basic needs, act out in harmful ways. They're angry at themselves, so they take it out on everyone. There's just so much stuff. And then now, this is just a personal opinion. We see nowadays in society the mental health issues that's going on. And it's amazing. It had to start somewhere. But the mental health issues, man, these children in all of these situations that we're talking about today, they're at a great risk, a extremely high risk of developing mental health issues. What's mental health issues? What are some? Anxiety, depression, low self-esteem or low self-worth. Like that was me. I keep telling people that was me, man. I didn't shoot. I struggle with that still to this day. It's crazy. And then these are all domino effects, like even behavioral problems, man. I got kicked out of school. My mother had to homeschool me. I got kicked out. That was always an issue, always something, man. Just we were acting out. I was acting out in anger and frustration. Why? I didn't have the love of a father. I didn't have the attention of a father. I didn't have a father. The drug had my father. Those kids that are stressed out, they engage in risky behavior, man. Think about your surroundings where you came from. I came from the inner city, Red Hook. I know a lot of kids that were doing risky behaviors, Most importantly, struggling with academic performances, man. My grades weren't all that. I didn't even care. It's just there is a domino effect. Parents, I hope you're listening. Parents, if you're struggling with addiction, listen to what we're talking about. Listen to the domino effect of what's happening to these children, man. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard to listen to these things and ultimately admit, yeah, that's me. There are things that we have to do, man. The first thing is acknowledging. First thing is acknowledging. Like, if you don't ever admit when you're wrong, your life is miserable. We need help. Parents, You need help. Starts with you. Really does, man. Now let's. I know. We talked about that, but like, let's just. I gotta dive into it a little deeper with the children who have parents struggling with this, man. Like emotionally, I know I mentioned it before, but let's just again the fear that these children have, the sadness, the anger, just the feeling of abandonment. Some of these kids even feel guilty, like if it's their fault. You talk about like traumatic experiences, children that deal with divorce. Most of those kids feel like it's their fault. And then imagine how those kids feel when the spouse, they got a divorce, mother and dad, they separated. Most of the time, it's the dad who doesn't have the kids and whatever. That's just how the cookie crumbles. The dad moves on and has kids with somebody else. You know how those kids feel? Man, listen. It's if we just sit here and just reflect, it's amazing. So here's all right. Let's go back to the mental health part because the mental health nowadays is crazy. Everybody got mental health issues, and really, it could be we could be acknowledging it because we truly didn't know. Like I never thought all these years that addiction really is a mental. Like it's we have a mental disorder. I generalize mental disorder, mental health. I was one of them that was like, man, that's an scapegoat. They're just looking for an excuse. No, the reality of it is when you break it down, man, the power of the mind, it can make you, break you, it could destroy you, it could strengthen you. Your mental state, your mental capability, just the way you're processing things is vital to your growth, vital to your rehabilitation, vital to your recovery. So I sent a couple of posts out, a couple of videos, just random things like that. But one of the supporting methods that we have, and I know we're talking about the children, but not just children, parents, adults, open communication, man. We need to encourage our children and encourage one another to express their feelings and fears, man. We live in a time where I can't talk about my feelings, man. I'm a dude. You talk about no feelings here. Gotta be tough. Fear. You know, fear here. No, we can't do that no more, man. At this point, because of how bad the mental health issue is, how bad the addiction issue is, man, all of that stuff is just it's not helping. We need to address the root cause, man. And it starts with open communication. Like we need to let them know. We need to understand that it's okay to talk about our experiences and our emotions, man. The reality, man, when I go to these meetings, these AA groups and just talk, it's amazing to hear and see and feel other people go through the same thing and what worked for them and what didn't work for them. And you it's just there's such a release when you're able to talk about it. And then what other kind of support can you get? This therapeutic support, professional counseling, therapy. It definitely provides a safe space for children, a safe space for the children to process their experiences. How are we processing things? Nobody ever taught us how to do that the right way. We process it by let me go get a bottle. Georgie, go get a bag. Let me go get some pills. That's how we process it. Never, man, I need to talk to somebody. No. There are therapists, there are professionals, therapists who specialize in childhood traumas, man. Or even they specialize in like the family dynamics. It's helpful. Man, when I was in All In and they would talk about the family dynamic, I was all like, what? Because I thought about my kids, man. I thought about all of my foolishness, all of everything that I was trying to do, drown this out, drown out that, and never addressing the issues, and didn't even realize how much I was hurting my kids, hurting my wife. Being around the people with the family dynamics that's able to open up your mind and give you just some nuggets of information, nuggets of wisdom. I was surrounding myself with that, and I still am. You know, one of the things that I've been doing now is education and understanding. I have been educating myself tremendously about addiction and the mind and how we process things. I'm also trying to learn how to help children understand it, how to help my children and those that are going through it, how to help their parents, how to help them see that their parents' behavior wasn't their fault. I hope my kids can understand that my behaviors were not their fault. And I never was one of those that wanted to take like use an scapegoat, but addiction is a medical condition. It's a mental health condition, man. All we've been doing is passing this down to our children, and they're going to pass it to their children, and they're going to make this normal, and we got to come against it, man. We need to also have positive reinforcements for them, man. We need to encourage and support their achievements. Nobody ever told me nothing good about any achievement, especially in the areas that I would struggle academically. Nobody was telling me nothing, good job, this, that, and that. I can't remember any positive reinforcements that happened in my life. And I'm not saying that it did not happen, but I am saying I can't remember. But how do we offer that support to our children? Self-care. Listen, at one point in my life, I was 444 pounds. I didn't care about taking care of myself. I didn't care about my mental health, my physical health. Now I've transformed that. Now I'm more conscious of my mental health, my physical health, the importance of living a healthy lifestyle. And I need to teach that to my children. I need to provide them with the tools and the strategies to help manage their stress. They need to learn all of this stuff, man. Mindful, like relaxation techniques. What are they doing? I'm learning all of this, bro. And I'm excited to. It's all about safety. Like when you come up and you hear safety first, you kind of look at it like, man, that's for soft folks. Having kids and like what you want them to be a little rough around the edges. You want them, yeah, I get it. I've been there, I know, but I want them to be safe. I want to ensure that my children and their future children are in a safe environment. That there's no harm of risk, no risk of harm in anything. That's what these children need. That's what they love, and that's what they desire. So all of this stuff is really ultimately leading into what? The trauma, right? Trauma can affect children in so many different ways, man. And the symptoms differ depending on the kid's age, right? Depending on on the nature of the trauma as well. What are some common signs and symptoms of trauma, man? There's, like we said, we talking about emotionally. There's the emotional symptoms, man. Again, there's the increase of fear and anxiety, right? They're always worrying. There's the sadness and the depression, right? Some of them get so sad and depressed, they just withdraw from whatever activities that they used to enjoy doing, or, they want to coop themselves up in the room and play all these crazy video games. They've lost interest in a lot of the stuff that they once enjoyed, playing music, playing some kind of sport. It's gone. They're sad. They're depressed. Just the anger aspect. These kids may have, they do have the outburst of anger, the aggression. Some of these young Thundercats, they aggressive. They young, aggressive whippersnappers. And a lot of them, again, they feel guilty, and they feel shameful of things that they didn't have nothing to do with them. And all this stuff, like, we need to pay attention to the behavior symptoms, man, the regressive behaviors. They start exhibiting this stuff at a young age, man. It's really, it's time. It's time, parents, adults, it's time that we start doing our due diligence in understanding this. Uh, Folks that want to call it disease and addiction, the disease of addiction. Um, we need to understand the negative effects of drugs and alcohol, and any kind of addiction, and what it does to our family, what it does to our loved ones, ultimately what it's doing to ourselves. The domino effect, man, the children. You've been blessed with a child, and they have been affected. If they're, man, I really do think about mine. And I do, while I do think about mine, and there's this big uh, source of, there's this big amount of regret that I deal with. There's this big, you know, unhappiness because of how I used to be. But there's also this this light. There's also this change in me that's showing me it's not too late. There's this redemption that has taken place, this reborn or reignited fire and flame, that I am going to transform my life and be the best husband, the best father, the best I can be. And I'm utilizing every opportunity, every gift, every tool that God has blessed me with moving forward. And I encourage you, parents, I encourage you, individuals, start thinking about yourself and bettering yourself, because there's no way you can continue in this life without it bringing total destruction to you and your family. And don't be afraid to reach out, man. Don't be afraid to talk. Do not be afraid. You need to. You need to. Listen, man, if you've um experienced any of these symptoms, if your child has experienced any of these symptoms, man, it's important. It is very important, for you to seek some kind of mental health professional, man. Somebody who specializes in trauma, and child development. It is very important that you start doing that right now. Early intervention can make a significant difference in your child's road to recovery, man. Stop beating around the bush. Stop beating around the bush. But ladies and gents, thank you again. You already know what we all about. Easy does it with Mikey Rowe. Until next episode, easy does it. And just for today, you ain't got to drink, you ain't got to drug. Just for today, okay? Peace.
Listen.